Lawn bowling is more than just a game. There's no talking on the green.
Genuine 1972 prices.
And nothing this soft. Stick it right up them, right up them.
Welcome to Without Bias. Brought to you by Apia, proudly supporting Bowls Australia. Apia, dedicated specialists ready to help. Call 13 50 50. Apia, get set, go. Local legends wanted. A bowls green is just up the road. Search bowls clubs near me.
Yes, indeed. Welcome to Without Bias, our designated Lawn Bowls show, dedicated as well, Lawn Bowls show, part of the Sporting Capital on SEN as we continue to bask in the warm afterglow of the incredible Australian Open. A couple of weeks on the Gold Coast, just a magnificently run tournament and some incredible results that came out of it. So a big show today. Ben Twist is going to join us. He's a current Jackaroo, the New South Wales ACT Pathways coach. Of course, he claimed the men's fours with Ray Pearce, Aaron Hewson and Dave Ferguson. So looking forward to having a chat with Twisty very, very soon. But to kick us off, current Jackaroo and the Queensland Pathways coach, media personality as well. There's not much that this wonderful lady can't do. And had another successful Australian Open campaign where she claimed the women's pairs with Kelsey Cottrell and the fours title as well. We had Kelsey on last week, and you can't have one without the other. Her partner in crime, Lyndsey Clark's been good enough to kick things off on Without Bias this evening. Lyndsey, hello to you.
Hello there. That was a very impressive little startup, so thanks for that.
No, look, I just read the achievements. You're the one that actually goes out and achieves them. So congratulations on a magnificent Australian Open. Kelsey on last week, of course, but you guys have just got such a fantastic partnership, and you extended that out to the fours as well. You must have been over the moon with the doubles and the fours win.
Yeah, look, we've played a lot together over the years, Kelso and I, and Jimmy as well in our fours. Never played with Sam Ferguson before, so she was a last-minute recruit to sort of fill in for Beck Van Ash, who couldn't make it up this year. So, it was just fantastic to win both team events. I'm probably known, I guess, throughout my international career as one of the best team players. I bombed out in the singles in the round of 32, but when you win the other two events, it didn't really matter too much.
I've always found, though, Lyndsey, that sport is so much more fun when you can share your achievements with others. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely 100%. I mean, the celebrating, and for me personally, I think I play better in a team because I'm playing for the other person. So, in the singles, I'm like, oh, well, never mind, it's just me. But when I'm out there in the team game, I don't want to let anyone down and, just want to try really hard. And, it's just really, special to look back on a lot of the events that I've won and probably remember more the mateships and the team stuff than the results as such. So, it was pretty cool.
And, of course, Mad Monday's always so much more fun with other people. You don't want to be doing that one by yourself. So the festivities.
Yeah, that's true. The festivities. Look, Kelso and I are both mums of two now. So, our celebrations were short-lived, but, we had a nice time with our families at Broady after the finals on Friday and celebrated with a few of our mates there. And then I shared it with my family over the weekend, as I'm sure Kelso did as well. So, the celebrations have changed as we got older, but it still means the same to win the title. So we were very happy with those.
You've won a ton together. What do you put the success down to? What do you put the camaraderie, the connection? What is it that has meant that you guys have been able to achieve what you have?
Well, I sort of touched on it just before, but we've had probably 15 years, I think, of playing together from success at club level through to state level when Kelso was at Queensland and then through to international success as well. So we definitely know each other intimately, what works for each other. We're best of mates. We're both mums now, so we share a different life on the side as well. We live about 1,500 metres from each other as well, just across the lake. We've got a really good friendship, which I think when you're out on the green in the heat of battle, we can sort of fall back on that a little bit. So I think, we're probably a little bit different in personality style. So I'm a little bit more happy-go-lucky as such, and Kelso's a bit more of the serious head out on the green, which probably works, and I think it complements us quite well. And in saying that we've got some differences, but a lot of similarities too. So we're both play the same sort of style of game. We're both sort of tactically smart. We both see a shot at the same time, so we can pretty much read each other's minds. We both have a bit of a quiet in a drive to succeed, I guess. Like we both love winning in a respectful sort of way, but thrive under pressure and just have a huge amount of trust and respect for each other at the end of the day. And win, lose or draw, we've given it everything and just love being out there alongside her.
We spoke to Kelsey about this last week, but you guys aren't afraid to mix it up either. Who's going to lead? Who's going to skip? You've won titles now in both roles. How important has that been to have that flexibility and dimensions to what you bring to the table?
Yeah, look, it's pretty, it's funny. Like, one of pairs the other way around. I think one of our fourth titles, I skipped it, then Kelso skipped one and Beck skipped one. So we are quite versatile in that way, but it's taken a lot of my career to get to the skipper end of things. I started off as a lead throughout the juniors, as most people do, and really sort of perfected my draw shot. And then as I got a little bit more experience, obviously, as you do in club level and state level, you end up sort of getting towards the back end of the rink. And I think, I really appreciated the importance of my upfront players when I got to the back end, because it's very hard to be a good skip if you don't have a good team in front of you. And sometimes, because I think, a lot of juniors these days or people starting off, they just want to skip and play the big shots and, get all that recognition, which sometimes you don't get to do as a lead. Or, I do say if you've got a bit of an ego, lead's probably not the spot for you. So, you don't necessarily get the recognition all the time, but, your teammates know how important you are to them. And, it's pretty cool. We're versatile. But, for the most part, I've been leading throughout my career and I enjoyed doing that, getting the team off to a good start.
I think the best analogy is like it's a relay. If you look at the relay at the Olympics, no one ever remembers who ran first. They always remember who crossed the line last. And
True.
And as a lead, you've just got to be happy to pass that baton over and know that when the glory happens, it won't be you. But that's always how I've computed in my head. Anyway, hey, your role, your other role that you're doing with much aplomb, Queensland Pathways coach for Bowls Australia. How did that come about, and how much are you loving it?
Yeah, look, it's awesome, Sam. I really enjoy the coaching side of our sport. So I got into coaching probably about nearly 10 years ago. So at my previous club, I started up a junior academy, the Hawks Junior Academy, and had just started with a couple of juniors around the club and wanted to help them improve. And when I was 11 or 12, my coach has really influenced me as a player and as a person as well. So, I just wanted to make an impact on these young people's lives and help them get better. And, I think our game is such a mental game and there's so much psychology around. So any of my experience that I could pass on to them, I guess, was something I wanted to try and help with. And, from then the Pathways role sort of came about last, I'm going to say October, I think it was. And it was, positions sort of funded by the AIS, and they identified a bit of a gap between, the elite level coaching and perhaps the maybe state level or playing for your state and then playing for Australia. So there's a bit of a gap there that they wanted to try and capture and look after those athletes that are maybe not quite in that, Australian rep level, but maybe going to get there one day. So, the Pathways coaching model came about for our sport and a few others as well. And, lucky enough to be selected for the Queensland role and, just really passionate about trying to help these guys on their way to Australian success. So, it's not easy and it's, coaching's a bit of a all-consuming type role. So, it's challenging, but it's lots of fun and I probably get just as much satisfaction from my athletes doing well as I do from myself doing well. So, it's pretty cool and, really, I feel really lucky that I can be involved as a coach in the sport that I love.
That's the lead coming out in you, that want for others to have success. Hey, so player, coach, and now commentator. You've been doing some media work at the BPL, at the Australian Open as well. Is that something you ever saw yourself doing? Because rave reviews have been coming through thick and fast for the work that you've been doing. Have you been enjoying that?
Yeah, look, I think people are too kind. I've never had any sort of professional training, so I wouldn't say I'm the most professional, but I do really love the hosting and the commentary sort of stuff. And I think my natural love for the game and enjoyment of the game and in-depth knowledge of the sport and the players, I think it sort of hopefully comes through a little bit when I'm in that position. But I think, it was 2007 I did my first commentary sort of gig for a bowls event, and I was nervous and I was mumbling about. But yeah, I've got better and better as the years have gone by, and I love I love playing, and I love talking, and I love everything bowl. So it's just a nice role to have, and I actually really prefer it as opposed to playing the BPL. Just because it's something different. And I think at this point in my career with the BPL, I just love, talking to the players and getting to know them a bit better.
Lyndsey, been wonderful to catch up with you. Congratulations again. Australian Open, pairs, fours, just a phenomenal achievement. The coaching as well, the commentating. There's not much you can't do. Hey, thanks for giving us some time on Without Bias.
No worries at all, Sam. Enjoyed it.
Lyndsey Clark on Without Bias for Bowls Australia. Local legends wanted. Search bowls clubs near me. And for APIA, dedicated specialist ready to help. Call 1350 50. So from one star of the Australian Open to another, Ben Twist, who's a current Jackaroo as well. He claimed the title in the men's fours. We'll have a chat to the New South Wales and the ACT Pathways coach, Ben Twist, on the other side of this on Without Bias.
From the wide outdoors to the great indoors, this is Without Bias.
Brought to you by APIA, proudly supporting Bowls Australia. Local legends wanted. A bowls green is just up the road. Search bowls clubs near me.
Welcome back to Without Bias, our dedicated lawn bowl show, part of the Sporting Capital on SEN. It was great to catch up with Lyndsey Clark earlier. If you missed that chat, sen.com.au to hear the full chat on the Without Bias podcast page. So from one Australian Open winner to another, from one Jackaroo to another, to one Pathways coach to another. It's great to have Ben Twist on the show, current Jackaroo, and he's the New South Wales and ACT Pathways coach. He claimed the title in the men's fours with Ray Pearce, Aaron Hewson and Dave Ferguson. He's been good enough to jump on Without Bias tonight. Ben, hello to you.
Yeah, good. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thanks, mate. Congratulations. Fantastic win. Looked like you really enjoyed yourselves up there. Yourself, Ray, Aaron and Dave. It's your first title since winning the triples in 2010. What did it mean to you?
It means a lot, thanks. I've played in every Australian Open since 2010. Been sort of at the pointy end a couple of times without getting over the line. So, to do the job is obviously amazing. 2010 was my first ever AO, actually, and the triples was the first event we played in. So, when you're sort of a young bloke like that, I was 19 years old, and you go on and win it, you don't really appreciate it so much. It's obviously a very difficult event. There's so many games you got to play and the quality of players sort of things. So I think sort of 10 years on, sort of going and winning another one, I think I just appreciate it a little bit more. For this time around, it's pretty special.
What was it about the quartet? You look like you gelled together so well.
We've played a fair bit together. So David, Ray and myself, we've actually played the AO4s for the last 5 years together. And I've played a lot with Aaron back in juniors when I used to live in Queensland. And, Dave and I played a lot together in the States. I played third for him in a lot of tournaments and that sort of stuff. So I think just the experience of playing together a lot, I think that definitely helped, with our success on the green. Plus, we gel really well off the green. And I think that's half the battle. You gel well off the green, that helps you gel well on the green. So I think that was probably the key to our success, yeah.
There's a pretty busy back half to the Bowls calendar this year. How much confidence do you take into that after the success at the Australian Open?
A lot. There hasn't been, obviously, too many big events over the last, say 18 months, obviously, with the COVID break. So it's good to sort of come out and win one of the big ones sort of straight off the bat almost. That obviously gives a lot of confidence moving forward for the remainder of the year.
Bowls has been back now for the better part of about 6 months. How are you enjoying being back out on the road and back into playing again?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's sort of funny, like travelling and playing has been a big part of my lifestyle now for, probably best part of a decade, to be honest with you. And that COVID break was a bit of a shock, staying at home for long periods of time, which I'm just not used to. There was obviously silver linings with it, the chance to sort of work on technique and sort of pre-shot routine and stuff like that and fitness and all that sort of jazz. And, it was just good to not be living out of a suitcase for a while, which is always nice. It's great to be back playing in the big events because that's what I love.
Another big life change for you. You recently were appointed the New South Wales and ACT Pathways coach. We had your Queensland contemporary on a little earlier with Lyndsey Clark. You must have been really excited to take up that challenge. What brought that on? What made you want to get into coaching?
Yeah, well, I guess I'd sort of I've come through the squads over the last sort of 10 or 15 years that have been a part of the squads and had lots of really good coaches, and it sort of just made me really want to get into it and sort of pass on my experience. And I'm really excited. We've got a really, really talented squad with the New South Wales and ACT emerging and pathway squads, and I'm really looking forward to the challenge, and sort of rather than be just a player, sort of be a coach and be able to sort of give back to those young players.
We're speaking to Ben Twist on Without Bias, part of the Sporting Capital on SEN. It's all for Bowls Australia. Local legends wanted, search Bowls clubs near me. And for our very good friends at Apia, proudly supporting Bowls Australia. They're dedicated specialists ready to help at Apia. Call 13 50 50. Apia, get, set, go. Ben Twist, current Jackaroo and New South Wales ACT Pathways coach. Mate, is there a figure that you can point to in your bowling journey that you think, I suppose, is who you'd look to in trying to establish the kind of coach that you'd want to be? Someone who's had such a significant impact on your career that you think their advice would resonate with you first and foremost when you're trying to figure out what kind of coach that you want to be?
Yeah, I guess so. I've sort of been blessed. I've had lots of good coaches over the years. When I started playing bowls, I started due to my old man playing, and he was a really good player in his own right. He played many games for Queensland, and he was a professional tennis player and a coach in that regard. So I was sort of lucky that I started with a really good coaching platform through him, and then went on and had some really good coaches. Chris Ryan was a good coach in Brisbane at the time, a really good technical coach. And then as part of the Australian stuff, Robbie Dobmans, Rex Johnson, Steve Glasson, Gary Willis, Cam Curtis, Kelvin Kirkhouse, Karen Murphy, these sort of names that just bring a wealth of experience. So I guess they sort of inspired me to sort of get in there and do coaching myself. And I look at these kids now that I'm coaching, and, they were me 10 or 15 years ago. And I just think that, the influences I've had over the years with so many great coaches, there's a fair bit of experience and knowledge there that would be a bit of a waste just if I just sort of let it go. So, I sort of do my part and sort of share my experiences of being what they were 10 years ago, and then sort of going from there and teaching them, and hopefully they can do a better job than what I did and not make as many mistakes, and go from there.
How does your proud Queenslander father feel about the apple of his eye going and helping out the cockroaches south of the border get better at the sport that he played for his state?
Yeah, look, he's pretty happy with me. He's accepted the fact now that I pull on a New South Wales jersey. Probably took a while to come round, being a born and bred Queensland family, but he's pretty happy. He obviously likes to see me do well in bowls, and he's as I said, he's a big fan of coaching. He's done a lot in his life, and I think he's probably glad to see that I can sort of give back now to the next generation like he did with me.
You mentioned the New South Wales ACT Pathways and emerging Jackaroo squad members that were announced last week. Talk us through who's caught your eye the most, who's impressed you from the bunch.
Oh, I can't do that. I can't say that. Look, they're all great. I actually spoke with them all today. We have a couple of meetings today, and, they're all really talented and all really keen. They range from sort of 18 to 27. Different levels of experience, but they've all got massive potential. We look forward to untapping that. You got, players like Kate Matthews, who's 21. She just won the Australian triples only recently. Girls like Chloe Morrison from ACT. She's 23, already won back-to-back ACT champion singles, and guys like Callum Murray, who's just he's a current New South Wales champion at 23, and just a wealth of talent. And everybody else in the squad is equally as talented as those three. And I'm sort of blessed that I get to work with such a talented crew.
You say you addressed them all today. You I don't know if you've got a whiteboard behind you or how you set that up, but you've got key points that you want to present to them about the way in which you're going to go about it and you want them to go about it. Just take us inside. What's at the top of that list on the whiteboard?
Well, the high-performance program that Bowls Australia do across the three squads, the Pathway, Emerging and Jackaroos, it's pretty well stable. It's a great program. It's been in place now for a few years, and it's driven, obviously, by Gary Willis, the national coach, and Karen Murphy, the assistant national coach. And there's lots of expectations surrounding your fitness and your on-green practice with the drills and other sorts of stuff, match play and circuits and that sort of jazz. And that's sort of tied into other expectations as well, surrounding bowls and your outside life and looking after yourself career-wise and that sort of stuff. So there's plenty of different branches for it. So that's what we sort of spoke about today, just letting them know the expectations, what we expect of them, and what they should expect of us as coaches as well.
Ben, it's been great to chat to you, mate. Good luck with what's to come with the pathways, and congratulations again on your win in the fours, mate. Great to chat to you, and we'll do it again soon.
Awesome. Thanks very much. Cheers.
Ben Twist won the fours at the Australian Open and the New South Wales ACT Pathways coach. Great to get an insight into the win and also how he's setting up the next generation of bowls stars. That's it from us for another edition of Without Bias. We do it for Bowls Australia, local legends wanted, search bowls clubs near me, and for APIA, dedicated specialists ready to help. Call 1350 50. APIA, get, set, go. Before we finish up, our Right at Home Player of the Week, Right at Home Aged Care. At Home, Right at Home is Australia's leading provider of home care and disability support. Player of the Week this week is Taylor de Greenlaw, 13 years old, who reached the women's fours semi-finals at the Australian Open. How good is that? There is a story up about her on the Bowls Australia website, so make sure you do go check that out, bowls.com.au on the Bowls Australia website. Big thank you to our two guests tonight, Lyndsey Clark, who won in the pairs and the fours at the Australian Open as well, and also to Ben Twist, who won the fours, and both those two are the Queensland and New South Wales and ACT Pathways coaches. So if you missed any of those chats, make sure you go to sen.com.au to hear the full podcast and just click on the Without Bias page